Stellantis just announced the shutdown of 15 factories across Europe. Volkswagen is halting production at its German plants for the first time in 87 years of non-stop history. Nissan's sales in the European market tanked nearly 50% in just one quarter, a drop nobody saw coming. And Ford basically bailed out entirely on the passenger car market across the continent, zeroing in solely on trucks and commercial vehicles. And no, this isn't just some short-term recession we'll bounce back from. This is a mass extinction, an apocalyptic event for the auto industry as we know it. 9 car brands that plenty of folks thought were untouchable, companies that dominated Europe's roads for decades, are now fighting for their lives on life support. Executives are quietly dumping their own stock, shuttling millions out of their companies, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Dealerships are closing by the hundreds every month, leaving entire stretches of industrial parks totally ghost towns. And leaked internal docs hitting the press paint a picture so grim, so devastating, it feels like the auto industry's European eulogy. So, buckle up and check your rearview mirror, because today we're diving headfirst, no holds barred, into the 9 car brands that probably won't make it past 2026. We're breaking down the hard numbers, the boneheaded corporate moves, and the market shifts, shoving these giants straight over the financial cliff. But before we hit the gas, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our deep dives on which cars are actually worth your cash and which ones will leave you stranded on the highway with a repair bill bigger than the vehicle itself. Alright, now settle into the driver's seat. Eyes on the road ahead, because we're just getting started. The European auto market isn't just hitting a rough patch, it's teetering on the edge of the biggest meltdown since World War II. New car sales have plunged 18% from pre-pandemic levels, but that's just the tip of a way deeper iceberg. Chinese makers already own about 11% of Europe's EV market, and that slice is ballooning every quarter, gobbling up share like it's an all-you-can-eat spread. Meanwhile, production costs in Europe have skyrocketed over 40% in the last 3 years, right as consumer demand slammed on the brakes thanks to runaway inflation and sky-high interest rates. These days, the average European driver hangs onto their car for a full 12 years, up from 8 just a decade ago. And why's that? Simple and brutal. Everyday folks just can't swing new cars at today's prices anymore. And to make matters worse, the EU's new emissions regs kicking in fully by 2025 are jacking up vehicle prices even higher, pricing them out for the average Joe. Car makers are forced to pour billions of euros into EVs that, let's face it, most Europeans aren't lining up to buy or even ready to switch to. Charging infrastructure's a joke, prices are through the roof, and range anxiety's still a real buzzkill. And the upshot of this perfect storm: a tidal wave of corporate bankruptcies, historic factory shutdowns, and desperate mergers rewriting the whole auto map. So, brace yourself. We're counting down one by one the 9 brands whose clocks are ticking out. Kicking off at number 9, DS Automobiles. Yeah, that French brand nobody really asked for in the first place. Stellantis launched DS aiming to go toe-to-toe with German heavyweights like BMW and Mercedes-Benz, crafting their own spin on European luxury with a French twist. But the cold, hard market truth: DS is just a money pit sucking in millions every quarter. In 2024, DS moved a measly 41,000 cars across mainland Europe. To put that in gut-punch perspective, BMW sells that exact same number of just the 3 Series every 60 days, worlds apart. The average DS dealership shifts only 18 cars a month when the books demand at least 50 to stay in the black. And here's the part that really stings. Leaked confidential docs from Stellantis show DS is bleeding about 4,200 euros per car sold. Even after writing off marketing and R&D costs, dealers admitted off the record, the brand's clinically dead. They just haven't signed the death certificate yet. In fact, Top Stellantis execs have already hinted in investor calls that DS gets fully folded into Citroën by mid-2026. In other words, DS vanishes as a standalone and just becomes a trim level on something else. A sad fade-out for a brand, born dreaming of French luxury royalty. Number 8 on the list, Lancia. These days, Lancia's basically Italy's forgotten ghost. A brand that owned Rally World Championships back in the 80s but now's barely clinging to life. Hasn't had a real commercial hit since the mid-90s. In 2024, Lancia eked out just 38,000 units total, and every last one from a single creaky model, the aging Ypsilon, which feels more like a wheeled nostalgia trip than a competitive modern ride. Outside Italy, Lancia's a non-entity in buyers' minds, and even at home, it scrapes by on elderly loyalists buying for sentimental kicks. Their latest comeback swing, the all-new electric Ypsilon, hyped to the hilt. Tops out at 200 units a month on a good day. Ouch. That's precisely what Mercedes moves of just the A-Class every single weekday. The gap's galactic. With only 160 active dealers who double up space with Fiat and 14 other Stellantis siblings, the finances flat out don't add up. No clear brand vibe, no sharp target demo, and zero young buyers biting. Everything screams Lancia bows out of Europe come 2026. The final curtain on a name once synonymous with Italian flair. And here's a curveball nobody saw coming. Infiniti, the Japanese luxury play that never quite fit anywhere. Yeah, Nissan officially yanked Infiniti from Europe back in 2019, owning the flop. But now the parent company's hell-bent on resurrecting it as a pure-play electric premium badge. Core issue. Absolutely nobody wants it back. In 2024, Infiniti shifted under 400 units across Europe while burning over 50 million euros a year, just to keep the lights on, admin-wise. It literally cost more to prop open showrooms than all the revenue from cars sold. And yet, defying every financial red flag, Nissan's gearing up for a full relaunch in 2026 as an EV luxury brand. But let's cut the BS. That's just a pricey corporate pipe dream. Zero dealer network, no built-in fan base, not even a whiff of buzz. Infiniti already cratered in massive China and shed over 35% market share in the US. By 2026, it'll likely limp on marginally in the Middle East, maybe as a flashy boutique EV line nobody ordered. Number 6. Alfa Romeo. Now we're in touchy-feels territory, 'cause Alfa's that Italian maker crafting cars so drop-dead gorgeous they shatter your heart, making you fall head over heels then letting you down hard. It's peak Italian passion, slamming full tilt into icy financial facts. Truth is, but we all love the thrill of piloting an Alfa, but damn near nobody's ponying up for new ones. In 2024, Alfa Romeo pushed just 48,000 cars across Europe. Context. BMW does that with the 3 Series alone in 3 normal weeks. Alfa's headliners, the stunning Giulia sedan and Stelvio SUV, combined don't even match a bog-standard Japanese compact's monthly haul in the mass market. The supposed brand savior, the new Tonale compact SUV, isn't turning heads in the sales game either. Averages 1,100 units a month, less than a tenth of a Mazda CX-5's pace. Total sales flop, though gotta hand it to 'em. Real Italian leather and steering that sings. Stellantis publicly vowed over $30 billion for electrification, but crunch the actuals. They've shelled out under $2 billion so far. Every fresh project gets kicked down the road indefinitely or axed on the DL. Meanwhile, the authorized dealer network's crumbling, month by month. Industry watchers are dead certain Alfa folds into Maserati or even Jeep by 2026. Maybe the storied name lingers as a special package on some model, but standalone Alfa. It's on the vent awaiting the plug pull. Number 5. Jaguar. Jaguar, the forever darling of gearheads who inexplicably chose to incorporate suicide in the most epic way imaginable. No sugarcoating it. The brand flat out announced it'll scrap every current model and go all EV by 2026, capping global output at a strict 100,000 units a year. Sounds cutting edge on slides, bold in boardrooms, but straight up bonkers strategy when 95% of your buyers aren't EV ready yet. In 2024, Jaguar scraped by with 31,000 units in Europe, and that smarts when you recall they were at 78,000 just a few years back. The sales nosedive is savage. Dealers are straight up raging because Jaguar's plotting to shutter nearly all physical spots for an online-only pivot, leaving just 50 experience centers continent-wide. The rest, hundreds of legacy outfits, head for bankruptcy court. Saddest part? Even Land Rover, its stablemate, is publicly ghosting Jaguar. And when your own sibling won't touch you with a 10-foot pole, the ending's scripted. By 2026, Jaguar's best case, a ultra-niche boutique slinging maybe 5,000 cars a year, or just gone for good. My money's on the latter, hands down. Number 4, Maserati. Europe, US. Pick a continent. Maseratis in the financial ICU everywhere. The Trident patient's been clawing for a comeback from past glory for over 2 full decades. But this time there's no heartbeat. In 2024, they moved a pitiful 8,200 cars in Europe. Perspective: Bentley, charging double the sticker, outsold them handily. Their hot new halo, the MC20 supercar, meant to rehab the image, already shed 30% resale value in a single year. Stellantis, the mothership, is done with the cash drain, slashed 100 million euros in future funding and made it crystal. Maserati's no longer flying solo. By 2026, signs point to Maserati morphing into a design badge for Jeep or Alfa Specials. No more in-house platforms. A legend that embodied Italian racing soul, reduced to pricey nostalgia stickers. Number 3, and shit gets real. Nissan. Nissan's European freefall's so swift it's like a slow-mo disaster flick. Back in 2006, they were humming 543,000 units a year. 2024, barely 247,000. Not a blip, a full structural implosion. Historic plants shuttering for good. R&D hubs dark. Ops slashed 75% in under 5 years. Japanese brass admits internally. Nissan's strategically bugging out of Europe to double down on China. Dealers mirror the mess, from 2,800 outlets to just over 1,000 now, down to 400 by 2026. Most hawking China-designed EVs with a Nissan badge slapped on. Japan's Century in Europe, done. Honda bounced, Mitsubishi too. Now Nissan's flipping the switch and slipping out the back. And we hit the video's tensest stretch, the final 2 holdouts, or soon-to-be casualties. Number 2, Chrysler. We're talking a brand on weekend life support. Technically, Chrysler's still kicking in Europe, on paper. 2024 sales, 187 cars. Not thousands, 187 actual vehicles. All that's left. The Pacifica minivan nobody's biting on, and the 300 sedan deader than a fax machine. But get this absurdity. Stellantis plans to slap a Chrysler badge on a rebadged Peugeot 508 for Europe. Yeah, a French Peugeot, rocking American branding. Ridiculous, doesn't cover it. By 2026, Chrysler won't even rate its own website. It'll hang on a tad longer as an accounting hack. A zombie badge for emissions credits. The name lives in fine print, but the spirit checked out ages ago. Number 1. And the jaw-dropper finale, Stellantis. The behemoth too massive to survive. Sounds nuts, but Stellantis, the outfit owning half the brands on this list, is inches from imploding. 14 badges, 260,000 plus employees, 39 billion euros in debt. The empire's buckling under its own bulk. Just in 2024, Sales cratered 27% and shares nosedive nearly 50%. EU Commission insiders are prepping for a managed breakup by 2026. Likeliest outcome, Peugeot, Citroën, and Opel scrape, by probably under Chinese ownership. Fiat gets swallowed. Jeep and Ram boomerang to US control. The rest, vaporized. This ain't a dip, it's total collapse. By 2026, Europe's auto scene's unrecognizable. Chinese brands command over a quarter of the pie. Millions jobless. The continent that birthed the car watches its baby die. So if you've got one of these brands in your driveway right now, my advice is straightforward. Sell it while it still fetches something. And if you work for one, polish that resume. 'Cause this isn't future talk. The meltdowns unfolding live. Drop in the comments which of these brands you think deserves to stick around. I read them all below, and as always, subscribe, hit like, share this vid, 'cause the next domino might topple way sooner than we think. Drive safe out there, and catch you next time.